On this episode of the Goal Line Fade, we're going to touch base with the Cowboys and where they stand on their bye, getting ready for the Vikings and the Mavs. Good, bad, or both? We really don't know quite yet. This and more. Play the music. Brian, my RB1, and we're here to bring you kind of what's happening right now in sports in the Dallas Metroplex. We're going to talk Mavs and Cowboys today. First off, before we do get into that, I just want to check in on my man and see how you're doing, man. How you rocking?
Good, man. Good. Health-wise, better. We talked about that a little bit last time. Finally got these headaches under control. And just got back from a nice vacation. Took a trip to the Bahamas, which was wonderful.
Oh, I bet.
Saw the best beach I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible. And we spent the trip. We went for 6 days, and half of it was at one end of the island at an all-inclusive resort, which was, it was like a party resort, and that ain't, we've vacationed together. That's not really our style. So it was kind of interesting. But then the second place was totally legitimate. It was the nicest resort I've ever been to. It was incredible. So since then, just been chilling at the crib, got back to work and watching Squid Game. That's about it. That's what I've been doing. What about you?
Nice. Yeah. I am too watching Squid. I'm not done. I'm on episode 4. I'm just finished the first half of the tug of war episode. I'm watching it slow. I'm old school, man. It's hard for me to really sit through anything. And once I like to even though I can watch all of it at once, I like to just make it last.
Digest it slowly.
If that's weird. I mean, I don't know. People keep running shit, keep talking about it, but that's just kind of my jam. We did watch the Halloween movie, and
how was that?
Meh. It's Halloween. If you've seen them, you've seen one, you've probably seen them all. Sure. Right? I think the last one was good because it brought back the origins of Halloween, as opposed to they got really crazy there for a minute. Then Rob Zombie brought them back, made them different, but really too dark. And then this kind of went back to its roots. This is takes place immediately after the last movie, if you saw it. So I appreciated that. There's 7 minutes of the movie that I don't think needed to exist. They could have made it a little bit shorter. If you watch it, it's in the hospital. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. But overall, enjoyable. It's written as a trilogy. I'll see the next one next year. They filmed them both back to back. So
sure.
There's that. So
yeah, I was you and I were texting about this not too long ago. When I was in my teenage years, I was a big Halloween fan. The original, what I like to call the original 6, right? Which is up to H2O. Anything H2O, and I don't include H2O in this, but the original
Paul Rudd was in the 5th one, right?
The 6th one.
The 6th one, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I fully understand and know that 5 and 6 are pretty much garbage, specifically 6. But 6 is actually probably my favorite one, aside from the first one.
Well, it's a day and age when it's before the whodunit, right? That was when all it was the Chuckies and the Jason Voorhees and the Freddy Krueger and the Hellraiser. That was kind of the horror movies there for the late 80s, early 90s. And then in 97, when Scream came out, all of a sudden it was 10 years straight of I Know What You Did Last Summer, Wrong Turn, just movies where it was like normal people, but you didn't know who the killers were. It was with somebody they knew, or
sure.
It's an interesting dynamic how we're kind of going back to that now,
Absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely, the like you said, that was the era of the 80s slasher flicks, and and it definitely had fallen prey to some of the cliches and tropes that dominated that era, but I still loved it. So I have yet to see the new one.
It's on
I'm gonna see it though.
It's on Peacock, so you can watch it on there.
Yeah, it's just been a time thing. That's all it's been. We binged all day, all this last weekend. We binged Squid Game, so we finished it. And Halloween is kind of next up on the docket. So
yeah, I think tonight, actually, after I finish at the gym, the wife and I are going to watch Dune. I've heard really good things. Haven't watched it yet. I'm not going to watch Monday Night Football. My wife is not too happy with football right now because she was handed her first L of the season.
Yes, congratulations, by me.
Sir. Yeah. So so I think I'm just going to forfeit football for the evening and do that, So
I no offense by this, but I'm truly surprised by that because in all actuality, her team she has the best team in our league. She really does legitimately.
She was favored by 40 when the week started.
Yeah, and so definitely tip of the cap. Congratulations.
Oh, it was the most random, like for our listeners, just to let you know, I am the most tinkering, weird thinker in the world because I overanalyze to the point that it's right though. It's weird because I get it wrong 3 times, but still get it right before the lineup goes in. So ad drops up the yin yang. You look at my transaction report and you're like, yeah, dude, what's wrong with this guy? But then you're like, oh, that makes sense now. So we're texting with one of our, I was texting with one of our league mates and he was like, dude, I'm effed at running back this week. Right. And he screenshot the ESPN. So I'm the commish. So I do take off the competitive hat sometimes to help people out. And he's like, what should I do? I'm like, well, honestly, I was like, Chubb's not playing. Hunt's knee is injured. I was like, I'd pick up one of the Browns running backs. He goes, which one? I'm like, I think they're Ernest. And I think that's who you should pick up. And
it worked out.
I was like, and they play Thursday, which means that
by the way,
a chance Chubb won't play then either, right? So then I started thinking about it. I'm like, dude, I'm in bye week hell. So I gave it an hour. And after an hour, he didn't make the move. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to do it then. So I went in all 3 of my leagues actually that I'm in and picked up Dearness Johnson. And home dude got me 27 points on Thursday. Yeah. And lo and behold, that and having the balls to stalk Khalil Herbert. Every expert in the world will tell you starting a Bears backup 6th round draft pick running back versus the Bucs was the wrong decision. But here we are.
It worked out.
But yes, so there we go. Not to brag too much on that, but so that was fun. So anyway, so tonight, no football. We're acting like football doesn't exist, I think, at the moment. So speaking of that, breaking news, there's officially been a quarterback trade that just happened, by the way.
Ooh, what?
Joe Flacco traded back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I saw that.
Yeah. No, not the one everybody thinks is going to go down.
So. No.
No, it's the unexciting.
I'm sorry.
But besides that, man.
Well, I was going to say, you said quarterback trade, not corpse of a former quarterback. That's what, but go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
He might be better right now than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, dude.
Not seeing a lot. Not seeing a lot at all. But besides that, I got my Invisalign off finally. So just going with a retainer now. Supposed to wear it for 10 hours a day for 90 days. And then after that, I can just delimit it to just between 6 and 8. So I put it on after work right now. So it's interesting because it's I've been free all day now, but no more attachments and everything. That's great. And I'm just eagerly awaiting Nintendo to update their fucking server because they have released a new family plan and it's going to allow a Sega Genesis app and a Nintendo 64 app. So Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64 are all about to be playable on Nintendo Switch. And I'm extremely excited about that, 100%. So They haven't updated it yet. Today's the day. And everyone's trying to find out when it's going to release, and it hasn't happened quite yet. So
nice.
I'm excited about that. I'm a nerd, and I like me some Nintendo action. So
yes,
much
indeed.
Looking forward to that.
I would just play GoldenEye all the time.
It's not available, but if they do, that's going to break the internet. If they were.
So they're doing this, and they're not making GoldenEye available?
They don't own it. It's Rare. So it's the company Rare that there's licensing issues. I don't think it ever can happen.
that's a goddamn shame.
Well, and think about it. So the cool thing about these apps, for instance, like they have the Nintendo app, right? It has Mario on it. It has the original Tecmo Bowl. You can play these games online. So like the original Tecmo Bowl, I could play with somebody and we could play Tecmo Bowl together.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country, you can play online with someone. So, dude, if they were to find a way,
oh man,
you could do 4-player GoldenEye on freaking Nintendo Switch online. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it would be the end for a lot of people. It would be not the end, but it would put a huge dent in some of the stuff that's happening. Some of the other first-person shooters that are out there.
Yeah, and like, I don't know about you, but I've tried to do the nostalgia goggles before and go back to some older stuff, but like it is so hard to play old shooters like that because I'm a 2-thumber now.
Yeah.
Right. The switch is you hold it for our people that are watching on YouTube. You just hold it in the middle and everything is one aim. Right. It's extremely difficult to go back to that because I had a 64 like 2 years ago. I just randomly bought one at Goodwill.
Sure.
I was like, let's do this. Let's get GoldenEye. And I was like, I can't play this anymore. I'm like freaking all over. It's
totally different.
You know,
yeah.
It's a different world, different animal. So, but yeah, that's enough nerddom for everybody. Let's get into it. I want to start with the Mavs, if that's okay, because we probably have the least amount to talk about there.
Sounds good to me.
So Hudson and I did get to go to the first preseason game. Okay. Interesting scenario there. One thing I learned real quick, that team chemistry is amazing. I don't know what that translates into wins and such, but it looks like the whole team. And I know there was a little bit of a disjoint at the end of last year where Luka and KP didn't seem on the same page. KP had went to a gentleman's club, and I know Luka wasn't about that. And there was kind of a rift. They don't like each other. They don't have five. People were breaking down things on the Twitter sphere about them not looking at each other, talking each other's direction, whatever that is. So one of the first things I was trying to pay attention to was just kind of how that was. Like watching Boban come in and make threes and how the team celebrated, it was magical, right? And they looked really good in the preseason as well.
Yeah, we looked like one of the best teams in the league in the preseason, like top 2 or 3 teams in the league.
Sure. I agree. And right now we don't.
No.
Atlanta, I don't know if Atlanta's GM, now the Mavs have reset. So we're starting behind the 8 ball here, as opposed to Atlanta's been building this thing for 4 years where we're kind of just now at this spot, right? But man, like someone asked me, would you trade Luka for Trae Young and Cam Reddish? And the answer is hell no. But I would trade the building process for how they built that team around Trae Young all day long.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the way the Mavs have built their team this last 4 years is kind of how the Cavs built the team around LeBron. And that is just, they're good. They can make a finals run. They can be really, really good, but it's too much on one man's shoulders to really make it. Everything's kind of going to go perfect in that direction.
Yeah.
And man, that was ever evident versus Atlanta. Did you watch the Atlanta game?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Every minute. It was rough. It was really, really rough.
I mean, from like the 4th minute on, you just knew.
Yeah. It started out like the first 2.5, 3 minutes of that game up to, 4 minutes or so. It was like, all right, here we go. It would start out, I think, like 10-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it was just, the buckets they couldn't buy a bucket, man. It was just terrible. And then the defense was bad. The paint was so clogged up because Kidd was insisting on this too big lineup, and
the rotations were bad. The minutes spread around. The fact that he had the entire bench on the floor at one time. Yeah. Like they went like, I mean, wow.
Yeah, it was a, to quote Zeke, it was a shit show. It was not good. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say about that first game.
Well, we're 1-1, and game 2 started the same way.
Very bad. Yeah.
Like it started with the same 16-4.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was, up until about halfway through the second quarter, I was getting ready to start throwing things and burning things in protest. Like I was getting ready to get really upset.
Yeah, they cut it to around 7 or 8 right before halftime. And then once the second half started, never looked back. What was the difference in the second half? Like, because this is the Mavs, and
it was a rotation thing. It was specifically they stopped. Kid made an adjustment where he stopped. He didn't go away from it entirely, but he greatly reduced the amount of time that two bigs were on the floor together at once. And so as soon as that happened, literally like the moment that happened, the floor opened up, spacing opened up. Luka could get to the basket nice and easy. It made it easier for even on the defensive side. Porzingis started playing weak side defense considerably better. It just seemed like the entire flow of the offense just started working the moment that happened. So that was the big change that at least that I noticed.
And we got the good Dwight Powell for the minutes he was in as well.
Absolutely.
Like Dwight Powell's usage is fine, but he is such a, like, just a high energy, just good. He's a good player for moments, but he can't play like, his body is meant for like 11 total minutes of basketball a game, I think.
And I really think he needs to be coming off the bench for a couple of reasons. Number one, all the things that we just said. Number two, the thing that you just said about the energy. He seems like a perfect guy normally I'm not saying he needs to be a six man, but one of the key characteristics that a player coming off the bench in the NBA needs to be able to do is bring energy, right? And I think he'd be a perfect seventh or eighth man coming off the bench, your relief big coming off the bench to bring a spark, bring energy, bring hustle, all that kind of stuff. But also on top of it, by doing so, it would allow you to put Bullock in the starting lineup, which I think needs to happen. Or at least I really would like to see it. We gave him quite a bit of money. And I think he's a damn fine player. He certainly deserves more minutes than he's gotten in the first two games. I don't know your thoughts, but I definitely would like to see him more than we've seen him so far.
Well, for me, I think Bullock is Josh Richardson, same guy. I think Rick Carlisle ruined Josh Richardson. I think Josh Richardson's actually a good player. He might even have more upside than what Bullock has. Maybe not. Maybe I'm completely wrong there, right? Just from what I've seen I saw Josh Richardson with Miami.
Yeah, I was going to say he has been better at one point, at the highest point of his career. He has been better than Bullock has ever been.
Sure.
It's just whether or not he can ever get back to that, or did Rick ruin him? Did Philly ruin him? Is he broken? Right? But I still think Bullock can get to that point.
No, I think Bullock has room to grow. I just after 2 games of watching the Mavs, I think to bring the Cowboys comparison in here, I think Jason Kidd is Wade Phillips. I think, and the problem I have is I really don't think that's his nature or what he's trying to be. I think that these reports and the books that have come out about him being a raging asshole on the other teams, and the fact that Rick Carlisle apparently got to the point where he's so unliked, and just kind of walking on eggshells with the players. I think Kidd's trying too hard to be a player's coach, and I think struggling. To me, it looks like a struggle to, like, what do you know what I mean? Like Luka's damn good. Like a comparison I'm going to use with Luka is Patrick Mahomes. All right. Patrick Mahomes is a freaking gamer, right?
And this last weekend notwithstanding.
Well, it looks to me like Patrick Mahomes has focused more on his brand than he has on becoming a better football player.
Yeah.
And that happens. It happens. You make the Super Bowl 2 times in a row. You're in the NFC Championship. You get a little bit cocky. You start filming Madden commercials and hair ads, and everything else. And then, you just don't watch as much film as you probably should, or focus on improving your game. People start to figure it out a little bit, right? Yeah. Well, Luka, so much of it is the fact that he doesn't have to be in the best shape, although he is in better shape right now than he was at the beginning of last year. he doesn't have to
but
be.
He's still not where he needs to be. But I'm with you.
Right.
Go ahead, sorry.
So it's just there's that aspect of it, and I really do think that our entire roster is a rental right now. Like, I just know there is going to be some kind of move. I don't know when it's coming. I don't know, off season, middle of the season, tomorrow.
Yeah.
There is going to be something, especially like dude, they got to pull like tomorrow. If they struggle out of the gate versus Houston, like they have been, and Houston is bad. If that happens, I get it, man. I know that they started slow under Rick as well, but Rick is a championship winning coach.
Yeah.
He's a proven, like, I've put a chip. You go through the, I'm not saying they're going to fire Kidd. I'm not saying Kidd should be fired. That's not where I'm getting at. I'm just saying that, man, they need to, that's when I mean, I don't know. Because the roster is the same as last year. It's really not that terrible.
It's not drastically different. No. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. The slow starts under Rick Carlisle, while they were irritating, you're 100% right that he had earned our trust through almost 15 years of being here and winning a championship, and having full trust that sooner or later he would get those kinks worked out with the lineup.
And he did. He always did.
Every year, you know, and while we did not reach the heights that we would have liked, for the most part, during his tenure, you'd be hard-pressed to point at a year and say that Rick Carlisle didn't get the most out of that team that could have been got, right?
Well, if you look at Charlotte right now, they're 3-0 for the first time in, like, forever.
Yeah.
And they're going through exactly what Dallas did 2 years ago, where, like, their team's not great, but LaMelo is just fucking making everyone better around him. And Hayward's actually finally healthy again. Yep. So they're making moves out there. They're doing well, but now it's like, okay, whoa, like, what do they do? You know, Dallas was like, whoa, we're way better than we thought we were going to be.
We're going to contend.
Yeah. They made the move for Porzingis, and that was clearly the wrong move. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate where they went. So I'm wondering, what is Nico, right? Like, what is the, like, what are you looking at? Like, I know you got to give it a certain time, but in this West, you can't give it 25 games, man.
No, you've got, as far as I'm concerned, they've got somewhere between, I'll put it to you this way. If things continue, because look, they won the second game, but if you look at the advanced metrics, they won, but they still didn't play well. If they were playing a legit team, if you got the same exact effort, but put it against the Jazz, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Trailblazers, some of these teams, the Phoenix, some of these teams here in the West, they still would have been beat by 15 or 20. So I think if you get the same kind of effort as we've gotten so far, I think you've got about roughly 5 to 6 more games before you have to start looking at, you start at least locating the panic button. And I'm not saying you push it, but you at least locate it. That's my thoughts. I don't know about you.
Yeah, man. I like, Porzingis is saying the right things. The team's saying the right things. He just ain't it, man. That is not a guy that you're going to win a championship with, in my opinion.
I'll say this before while I don't disagree with anything you just said, I also don't think that he is the reason that this team has played bad so far.
No, it's not his fault
he is
at all.
On the list of problems. He is very near the bottom thus far in the 2 games that we've seen so far.
Well, the issue is this. You look at the roster last year, and yes, I like the offseason moves. Yes, I like the coaching change and the GM change and the trajectory of what that means for the future of the organization. I like all of those things. But if you look at it black and white, Bullock is Josh Richardson. Did you hear the dog shooting on the chew toy in the background?
Yeah, no big deal. It's no big deal. It's fine.
Lulu, come here. We're recording over here, you weird dog. So you got you've got all of those things happening, right? And on top of that, so then you're just adding Sterling Brown to the mix.
Yep.
Yeah. And Sterling Brown's not a good player. He's a good role player.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a bad player, but he doesn't move the needle.
No,
you know,
definitely. Definitely does not.
I agree 100% with what you said. Legitimately, like you said, the roster is essentially, for all intents and purposes, the same. The only way, one of a couple of things has to happen for us to take significant steps forward. Either the talent that we have has to improve from last year, the chemistry has to significantly improve from last year, or the teams that we're playing have to take steps back. One of those three, or two of those three things, has to happen. And I don't think the talent is going to get significantly better. I think Luka will improve, but not, I don't think it's going to be night and day. I think Porzingis has improved, but again, I don't think he's going to improve enough that it's going to take you from the 5th or 6th seed to the 2nd or 3rd seed. And unless some crazy injury stuff happens, it doesn't look like the West is going to be significantly worse than it was last year. So that leaves you with only one other option, which is find a way to improve the talent or find a way to improve the chemistry.
Well, here it is. Rockets. They should not pose a threat. It's a home game. They should be fine. The Spurs are improved, but it's a home game. Then it's Nuggets, then it's Kings, then it's Heats, then it's Spurs, then it's Celtics. So
that's a rough run.
Yeah.
Because say what you want, I don't think the Kings are going to be garbage this year. I don't know if they're going to be the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be the dumpster fire they've been.
They're looking like they can play.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if that means that doesn't mean they're a playoff team, but they look like they're no longer a doormat. They're not an easy out,
They look like they might be contending for one of the play-in spots. Maybe.
And that Davion Mitchell rookie kid is pretty good.
Yeah, this rookie class, there's a couple of kids from this rookie class so far that look to be legit AF.
Oh, I know. I missed out on every single one in my fantasy basketball draft too. Pretty irritated by that. But
yeah.
Whatever. That's how life works, right?
Indeed.
Well, that's all I got on the Mavs. I'm at about a 7.5 on my worry meter right now.
Yeah, I'm in that same area. My biggest problem is one of the things is I was never super excited about the Jason Kidd hiring, right, from Jump Street. And I am starting to feel, unfortunately, I feel like I might have been right. And I hope that's not the case. But it just doesn't, right now, he is not confidence inspiring, because the other thing is, it doesn't feel like he's as worried about the way the team is playing. It doesn't feel like he's as worried about it as he should be.
Sure. And like I said, I think when we hired, and this is what's unfortunate, because people take what I say out of context, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I like the new GM hiring. I like the kid hiring for what it was going to become. Mm-hmm. I had heard rumblings from people that I talked to at Mavs hangouts and everything else, people that are in the know, that Carlisle was a big factor in turning people away, that, free agent wise, that wanted to come here. And obviously Donnie Nelson, I don't even know where to start with what that became in the front office, just giving Mark Cuban too much power, kind of, to just.
Well, and again, we don't have to go on a long tangent about this one thing here, but I didn't bring it up, but we're talking Mavs, so I might as well, because, it's been a while since we've had a pod. Did you read all the Bob Voulgaris stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I'll just say this to our listeners, because if we go down this rabbit hole fully, we're going to be here for an hour just talking about this. Go.
He's Al Davis, man. Mark Cuban is Al Davis, 100%. And Mark Cuban, not Mark Cuban, Donnie Nelson just let him do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it to you this way: if Bob Voulgaris is to be believed, even 50% of what he's saying, then yeah, you're exactly right. Donnie Nelson basically just said, "All right, well, I'm getting paid. Things aren't going terribly, so I'm going to kick my feet up and I'm going to let this guy who cuts my check do whatever he wants, regardless of how bad an idea it may be." And it's a goddamn shame. So if you listeners haven't seen it, read it, the information's out there. Just Google Bob Voulgaris Mavericks and you'll see plenty of things. He did an interview detailing his some of the stuff towards the end of his tenure here.
And to be transparent, if I owned a team, I'd be the same way. But
100%.
Neither here nor there.
No, absolutely. I'd be the same way until I realized it wasn't going to work, and then I'd probably hire somebody who knew what the hell they were doing and back away. But I don't own the team, and I want them to win, so he needs to stop.
Right. Well, let's segue into the Cowboys, and this is how I'm going to do this. Is the Cowboys had a run there for a while where Jerry was making a lot of the decisions, still is, but once Will McClay kind of solidified and Steven kind of solidified as the main decision makers, things have turned around as for the organization and where it became better overall. Like not where it needs to be or where we want, right? But overall things have been better and we have the product we're looking at right now. So sure. Maybe the, Nico hiring and the way everything's changed for the Mavs do that. So my worry meter for the Dallas Cowboys is like at a 1 out of 10 because they're looking damn good. The schedule it is what it is, right? Sure. Minnesota seems to always have our number. That's the next game. But overall, holy crap, they're winning games they shouldn't or they wouldn't used to win. They're finding a way to get those, like the Patriot thriller, walk-off CeeDee Lamb touchdown, right?
Yep.
Good times. What are your thoughts on all this right now?
Okay, so I've got a lot of thoughts. Number one, Dan Quinn is my hero, right? Truly, what he's doing and has done with this defense cannot be overstated. I don't think it's remarkable. If you compare this defense, which again is not terribly different personnel wise from what we fielded last year, and the results are so drastically different. Even if you just want to say it, having to do with the score and the quarterback and what the offense is putting up, look at the first 5 games before Dak got hurt. That defense was still a fucking nightmare. And this defense, while they're no 2001 Ravens, they're not the 85 Bears. They are. You can tell they know what they're doing. They know their assignments and they're taking the ball away. They're playing hard all the time. So that's my first thought. Dan Quinn for president.
Yeah, they get stops when you need them. They're getting interceptions when they're absolutely like it's a clutch play, and the sacks are actually happening to help swing momentum for once. Like it's like all part of the plan. It's like, man, we really need to stop the Patriots right here, and then
last year we heard Mike McCarthy
pancaked,
Last year we heard Mike McCarthy say umpteen jillion times that they weren't playing complementary football. And this defense is the definition of 2 things. 1, complementary football, and 2, bend don't break. Right? Because we give up a lot of yards, which frankly, the yards per game stat is one of the most useless stats in the history of the league. But they don't give up yards in the red zone. They don't give up a ton of touchdowns, and they get takeaways and they get sacks and pressures. So as long as that keeps happening and on a relatively similar pace, also, by the way, within it, our defense has been incredibly injured. We haven't had what we all assumed would be our best player going into the season. We haven't had him since week 2 when DeMarcus Lawrence went out with an injury.
Correct.
I mean,
he's looking Chiefs game probably back Thanksgiving-ish.
Yeah, give or take is what they're saying. So that should be, because right now Randy Gregory is beasting out and he's having to do it, getting double teamed and getting chipped. When DeMarcus Lawrence comes back, you're going to have to choose which one of them do you want to double team, because you can't do it to both. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. The offense has been exactly what we expected, and also dealing with injuries and people not there. They've been great. The number one thing I want to say about this team, though, is there's a lot of people out there who are not giving Mike McCarthy credit for it. Everybody acts like it's just Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn, and it drives me nuts because there's a lot of things that a walk-around head coach is responsible for that other head coaches that call their plays on offense or defense don't get to do as much. And culture is a big part of it. And the culture of this team right now is as good as any team in the league. You can tell that they are vibing. But
Right.
Sorry, I kind of dominated that. Take over. Let me hear your thoughts.
Oh, you're fine. I like I said, I can talk forever too. My takeaways are pretty simple. Overall, like it's funny because, we talked about last year, Mike McCarthy being a crazy fuck, right? Like he'll go for like weird, like
gambler.
And I was like, and I remember we were talking about it. I was like, I kind of dig it.
I love it.
I get it, but because the other team doesn't ever know when he's gonna go for it on fourth. I mean, you look at like Mike Tomlin, who is an excellent coach, in my opinion. I mean, goodness, the guy's been, with Pittsburgh forever. They've won Super Bowls, and he just like that dude. You never know, like when he'll go for two out of nowhere. It's like, okay, that's time for two. Let's do this, and that keeps a team on their toes. Where you're not predictable. One of the biggest Garrett, era issues that I always had was the predictability of it's third down and one.
Of everything. Everything. Yeah. Everything about a Garrett coach team was predictable as could be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think McCarthy's doing a good job. Now I have issues, like the mojo thing was lame and everything else, but at least he's trying. At least he's trying to do things, and the team's liking it. They're taking to it, and that's really what the most important thing is. And it's evident. You see Diggs, for instance, and I had a feeling, man, and I've mentioned it numerous times. It's always good when you're right. Mm-hmm. I've been Team Diggs since the opening moment. I'm telling people at work last year, I'm like, man, he had no training camp. It's the secondary. I'm like, and he got injured right when he started to kind of turn a corner a little bit. I was like, I think he's going to be fine and leading the league in interceptions. Now, is he going to continue to get one a week? I don't know. Is he going to lead the league when it's over? I don't know. I just know he's damn good. And the receiver who's done the best against him so far is DJ Moore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as Trayvon Diggs goes, he's okay. I seriously doubt he's going to get one a game for the full year, but I'm not saying he's not, because I've been saying for 4 weeks now that there's no way he's going to get another one this game. He's got to go a week without getting one, and he just keeps getting one. So maybe he will. He's certainly got a really good shot at a couple of important things. Number one, breaking the record held by Night Train Lane, which is 14 interceptions in a season. And number two, if he does that, he's probably a lock for Defensive Player of the Year. Again, if you'd have told me in July that we were going to have Defensive Player of the Year, or even a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year on this defense, I'd have laughed in your face.
Right.
Something else that you could have told me in July, somebody could have taken all of my worldly possessions in a bet in July, because if someone had told me that come week 7 of the NFL season, there's going to be, you can take two teams. It's going to be the Chiefs and the Cowboys. One of them is going to be 5-1, and the other one is going to be 3-4. I would have bet you everything in that I own, and literally every item that I own, that it would have been the other way around. And I would have been confident as could be that I would have been right. So somebody could have taken everything I own. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the Chiefs look bad. It's lazy journalism, but the Super Bowl hangover is real.
It's either the Super Bowl hangover in their case. We kind of touched on it earlier. I feel like Patty Mahomes has kind of been coasting. And I think Tampa Bay kind of showed the league a bit of a blueprint on what you can do to beat them. And it seems to be carrying over because everybody's kind of doing the same thing, which is a lot of pressure. And it seems to be working. But yeah, anyway.
For sure. So we've got Minnesota up next, right? Indeed. It's Minnesota, Denver, then Atlanta. Is that correct?
And then the
Chiefs, the Chefs, right after. Minnesota's had her number. Dalvin Cook is a very, very good player. Justin Jefferson is, if you don't know who he is now, you're about to probably know who he is after this week.
Yeah.
Because I'm very intrigued to see, I would imagine Diggs is going to take the assignment on Jefferson. And that's going to be very, very, this might be the toughest assignment he's had so far.
Yeah. The other, I was reading an article, I can't remember who it was by. It might've been The Athletic, but they were saying that they think the better way to do it, instead of him just going with Jefferson, because you've got two great receivers there. Thielen's not what he was a few years ago, but he's still a terrific receiver.
Oh, sure.
Is maybe instead of, at least for the majority of the game, instead just have Diggs on one side, and do it that way. Because either way, no matter what, you're going against a great receiver. But who knows? They've definitely changed it up how he's done. I would probably lock him on Jefferson, because I think Jefferson at this point is clearly their number one. But whatever.
All right. What do you think? You feeling a W or an L? Both teams coming off a bye.
I think it's a W for one reason and one reason only. While they have great receivers and a terrific running game, and Kirk Cousins is playing much better than people give him credit for, their offensive line is
bingo.
Their offensive line is not great, and we can get after the quarterback.
Rattle Cousins and they lose.
Yeah, that absolutely. And their defense is not anything special. I think we're gonna feast.
You rattled Dak, and he just keeps playing.
He's the best in the, statistically. I wish I had the stats right here quickly that I could pull up and tell you, but statistically against the blitz, he is the best quarterback in the league against the blitz as far as completion percentage and as far as average yards per attempt. He's the best quarterback in the league against the blitz.
When did he turn into processing information like Peyton Manning? When did this happen? It's like watching him adjust and make all the movements. It reminds me of watching number 18 when he was the Colts do that,
It started you literally go back and kind of start to see it happen about halfway through 2019 is when his ability to process what defenses are trying to do to him. That's when the light bulb really came on, was halfway through 2019. You really saw it start to happen last year, but he just was kind of snake bitten with turnovers and other stuff. And now it's just all lining up the way it needs to, Yeah.
That I had no doubt in my mind we were going to win the game versus the Patriots. I did not know walk-off CeeDee Lamb touchdown, but I felt like the last time I felt this confidently about a Cowboys team, there was 2 times. It was his rookie year, because it seemed like Zeke was the ultimate closer, one of the best closers I've ever seen in football. Like the Pittsburgh game, for instance, that was just always remember that joyous occasion in Pittsburgh. And then it would be Tony Romo's second year when they went
2007.
Yeah, was that his third year or second?
That was his second year as a starter.
That was
Wade Phillips' first year.
Yeah, I felt that every single time we had the ball, we were going to score.
Yeah. I mean, remember that year? Remember the game against the Broncos, the Peyton Manning Broncos?
Yeah, we ended with a Romo pick.
Yep, absolutely. But we ended up, I think we got beat 51-49. It was crazy. That was one of those years. Yeah, here's, you were saying, when did Dak become the Peyton Manning process information? You know what? That Patriots game really illuminated to me, or made perfectly clear, is Dak has become that guy the way that it used to happen to us all the time, specifically against Aaron Rodgers, where at the end of the game, you go, if you score to take the lead, you look at the clock and go, oh shit, we left him too much time. Yeah. Dak is that guy now. And, I think he's been that guy for a little while. It's just the team around him hasn't been able to kind of support that, and then he got injured, blah blah blah. But it's clear he is that guy. And as soon as that happened, as soon as we got the ball back, I looked at the clock, looked at the number of timeouts, and went, okay, yeah, we're fine. We're gonna go down there, we'll get a field goal. And you can say what you want about Greg Zuerlein, but when the game's on the line, very rarely does he miss them when the game's on the line. Also, I think he's getting too much shit. A lot of people, I don't think he's the greatest kicker in the world, but look around the league. Aside from Justin Tucker, everybody's got a questionable kicker.
I like that kid on the Bengals too, man.
Yeah, he seems to be frosty.
In that Packer game, 6 missed field goals in a row.
Yeah.
What's up?
I said, yeah, he seems to be frosty though,
yeah.
Ice cold, cold-blooded. But yeah, I think Dalvin Cook is going to be I think the running game is going to be the tough thing for us, because I think they watched last year. They were able to run on us at will against Minnesota, and they watched what Cleveland did to us last year. And yeah, we've been better against the run, but I think they're going to try to control the game, keep us off the field, and see if we can handle it up the middle against the run. And it'll be interesting to see, but I think we can.
A lot of times, man, you don't see two teams coming off a bye playing each other.
No,
it's a very interesting situation. Just kind of like how Atlanta and who did Miami play in London?
Atlanta.
Yeah, and they lost, right?
Yeah, Miami lost to Atlanta.
And then Atlanta had a bye week, but yet Miami doesn't have a bye week till week 13, and they have to play after going to London. Like,
I know
that's weird,
yeah.
But this is definitely an odd rarity. So you can't really say. I mean, both teams are refreshed, and obviously, you're looking at Minnesota. They're not where they want to be right now. There's a lot of questions about quarterback and coach if they don't figure it out this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I was telling a coworker about it. That's my dark horse for Aaron Rodgers, by the way.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, pull a Favre,
Except it's his choice. He didn't have to be traded.
Yeah, very true. That would be awful. I would.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
Dude.
Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, what's left of Adam Thielen. That would and they've got I think Zim's a great defensive coordinator. I don't know how he is as a head coach, but they have a terrific offensive coordinator. They know what they're doing on offense up there, because it's all based on it all comes from the Shanahan school. Yeah. And that would be dreadful. But as long as he doesn't end up in the East, I'm all right with it, really. But I sure would like to see him go to the AFC. Ugh.
Yeah, give him to Washington. I don't care. I'm kidding. Don't do
okay.
That.
God, don't even say those words. Although their defense is fallen back to earth and then some, which is lovely to see.
Well, when you have an offense that can't control the clock because they have a running back that scores 4 fantasy points a game that I have in 2 leagues that I he's going to remain nameless. He's on my eternal shit list right now. But
well, he's got a fractured shin.
I don't care.
I know you don't care.
Still run the ball.
I wouldn't care either.
You should still run the damn ball. Yeah. Or put him on IR and put somebody else in there. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
100%. Yeah. And the truth is, the rest of our division is a total shit show, and it's a lovely thing to see, because we're going to end up at this pace, at this rate, we're going to end up securing the division by week 9 or 10, and kind of really start to be able to focus on the postseason. And at that point, you just got to worry that we're going to end up, coasting to a point where we get rusty or something. And that has always bothered me and worried me, but I think we'll be all right.
I think we're going to be okay too, man. The game I'm worried about is this one. I'm not worried about Atlanta.
No.
I'm not worried about Denver. I don't think I'm too worried about the Chiefs, although it's in Kansas City. Maybe they'll right the ship here in a few weeks. But if there's a roadblock that gives us a loss by the time the Chiefs games come, I think it's going to be the Minnesota game, for the reasons that they have weapons, man. And the Cowboys, for what they are and for where I am believing them right now, the only really good quarterback, in my opinion, they've played so far is Tom Brady. Sam Darnold has turned back into a pumpkin.
Justin Herbert's
not having as great of a. He's still very good.
You're crazy.
He's not.
No, you're crazy. Look at the number. You're wrong, bro.
Oh, he's number 2. He's number 2 right behind it. I'm saying Justin Herbert, that stretch he went on last year, he's not as strong as that right now, is what I'm saying. Now, unless we count the Browns game. The Browns game with him, and that was insane offensive showdown.
Also, dude, the game he had against the Chiefs, and while it doesn't carry as much weight as it did at the time, just his performance against the Chiefs was it was
a very big deal. I've cooled down off of it since then, because it was a very big deal at the time. And then now it's like the Chiefs aren't really the Chiefs, so it doesn't feel quite kind of the same as it did. But yeah, no, Herbert's good, but it hurts. It's Darnold.
Oh yeah,
it's
no,
Daniel,
those guys.
Daniel Jones.
But here's the thing, right? You look at our schedule. If we're just going off of quarterback, right? Who are you afraid of that's on our schedule? Pat Mahomes, right? Obviously Kyler.
Definitely Teddy Bridgewater.
And Derek Carr, maybe. Like Derek Carr's balling out right now.
Yeah.
But I also think that by the time we get to Thanksgiving, I think that Oakland is not going to be the same Oakland we're seeing now, because they're kind of on a high. Let's do it for Rich Bisaccia. Let's, show the world. Doesn't matter that our head coach got fired. But by the time we get to Thanksgiving, that's enough time for dysfunction and craziness to seep in. And I think they're not going to be quite the same team that we're seeing right now. So we'll see. But, for the most part, we don't really face any quarterbacks that terrify me. Kyler, it's basically three games until we get to the postseason that we should lose based on quarter, or at least should have trouble with.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Obviously, the biggest. It's easy for me, because the two first games were absolutely the class of the AFC and NFC. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers aren't the best team, but they're in the handful of conversation of AFC teams. They're going to be damn good. I mean, Bengals, Chargers, and Ravens. That's probably your three top teams right now through the quarter point, right?
Yeah.
The Raiders are right there too, but I just need to keep seeing it. I'm just
Bills.
Yeah, Bills as well. It's funny because when teams have a bye week, you just forget about.
You kind of forget they exist. Yeah, very much so. But no, I mean, look, the Chargers are, I would say right now, like you said, they're in that upper echelon of the AFC, which is not nearly as good as we thought it was going to be going into the year, but still they are what they are. They're not world beaters, and I don't think they're going to win a championship this year, but I think they'll make the postseason, and they look solid. He looks like a really good quarterback for a young guy. So.
No, Herbert's good. Like I said, I've noticed there's been a
yeah. So let's do this, because we took a number of weeks off because of personal stuff between both of us and traveling and other things. I wanted to ask you updated record prediction.
Well, damn, dude. I had them having one or two losses was my prediction when they played the Chiefs. And it's looking like I was right on the money there. I think they lose to the Vikings, and that will be it. I think they will lose to the Chiefs. And then they're only going to lose 3 games, dude.
I think so. Overall, going throughout the year, I think we win on Thanksgiving, right? I think we win against the Vikings. I think we beat the Chiefs. I don't think personally, I don't think we're going to lose another game until. Sorry, let me look here. I think we're going to lose. Believe it or not, I think we're going to lose to the Saints, and I think we're going to lose to the Cardinals. Those are the 2 games. I think the 2 more games, because I think we lose 3.
I said 3 as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I went from 9 to 14.
14. That's
my gosh. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
Well, dude, right now, barring injury, of course, right now they look like possibly. Maybe I think the Cardinals look like the best team in the league right now, but they look like the second or third best team in the entire league.
Well, Mike McCarthy last year did not have this team prepared after their bye. So I'm not saying that's going to be what's going to happen this time, but I'm going with what I'm going off what I know, not what you show.
Yeah.
So let's see if he can fix that. And I would happily be proven wrong versus the Vikings.
I'm just going to, I look at his history with the Packers after bye, and he has I don't know the record, but I looked at it last week sometime, and he had a really good record after the bye week with the Packers.
Well, it was close to, if I remember correctly, it was close to Andy Reid's, because Andy Reid was like 10 years in a row didn't lose, right?
Yeah. Andy Reid was always the best after the bye. Mike McCarthy is in that conversation.
And it seemed like the Cowboys always played the Eagles after the bye. That's why I know that stat so well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's,
Well, that's it. That's all I got for the Cowboys. You got anything else you want to throw in?
Go Braves.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck the Astros.
So let's go Braves. Other than that, that's all I got, brother.
All right. Noxie thinks Cowboys win. I think Cowboys lose on Halloween night. I'm going to turn my lights off so people don't think I'm at home while the Cowboy game's going on. I think you've got if any listeners here are younger than the age of 12, which would be weird, but if you are, your parents are doing it right, I think. But also, you can come to my house between 6 and 7 to get candy. After that, it's over. Yeah. So I apologize in advance.
Yeah, at 7:05 or 7:15, it's over. That's done. Halloween doesn't exist anymore, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, go to the mall.
Yeah,
go somewhere else. Trick or treat day.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that's it for the Goal Line Fade. I'm Zach. He's Brian, and we're out.
Bye.
Peace.